The big thing we try to figure out for week 7 of the $1 Million Picks is how do we make money on the Bengals, who are minus 10.5 at the Jets. They're minus 500. And normally I would look at this and go, got to figure out a 3-team tease, some sort of parlay bet, whatever. The Bengals coming off an awesome win. Mm-hmm. The Jets are starting Mike White, who did a great job writing White Lotus this year. But unfortunately, White Lotus, he did a great job.
No School of Rock.
No writer's room for White Lotus. Just cranked that himself. Oh, yeah. Talented guy. Not sure he's the quarterback I want against the Cincinnati team. It's a perfect storm of, I think the Jets now realize our destiny is we're now one of the 3 worst teams in the league. The Zach Wilson, he's going to be out for 4 weeks. They cannot run the ball at all. Defensively, they've had some losses. I don't know if is Mosley coming back this week,
I don't know. He wasn't there last week, and the announcer said it about 14 times in the first quarter. Like, the Patriots keep running up the gut. Well, we know there is no Mosley.
Right. So maybe they throw this game away. So we are targeting the Bengals this week. But give me empty your Bengals notebook. What do you got for us?
So I speak with Zach a lot, and I think he's the most anonymous head coach maybe in the NFL. If he was to walk into an airport, I don't think anyone's stopping him for a photo. And yet his whole thing is like, we're not surprised at this. Like, this isn't a shock to anyone here because of what they built. It's a very young offense. So it's Burrow, it's Chase, it's T. Higgins, it's Mixon. Those are young guys.
And Perrine, I mean, they have a good backup running back. Like they always have somebody in there who could do stuff.
And they're a really explosive young offense that's going to put points. But the defense, there's no first or second year players on that defense. And it's a lot of like discarded players from other places. So Chidobe Awuzie was with the Cowboys, and now it's like, all right, my second chance here. It's Mike Hilton, it's Von Bell. And then you go down to Trey Hendrickson, and it's like this great mix of veteran guys who have been through games and have won games on good teams, trying to build something, and then young players who were excellent in college and have played in big games at that level, all with a very mild-mannered coach and an offensive coordinator in Brian Callahan, who's Bill's son, who I think is going to get head coaching interviews this year because he's unleashing things in these players that, you know, right out of the gates, they're able to do. Jamar Chase, that's not by accident. That's obviously him as a talent, but it's also the coaching to get him going like he has been in year one.
I would describe their defense as fast and hungry.
That's a good way to.
And you look at their seven games, 24. They gave up 24 to Minnesota in OT. As we always say, like week 1, you're not really sure yet. 20 to Chicago, 10 to Pittsburgh, 21 to Jacksonville. I think one of those TDs was late. 25 to Green Bay in OT, 11 to Detroit, but then 17 against Baltimore. It seems like a defense the arrow's pointing up, wouldn't you say?
I think the defense is really good and really smart and like disciplined. And last week's game, it was big on the national stage, I think, they did that to the Ravens and they got their respect. It was also really big in like that locker room because they've been talking and preaching that. And it's like, holy shit, we just punched them in the mouth who have beaten us 5 straight times and run all over us. But it's like, no, we just were bullies to them in their building. And it's not one of these where I think they're going to take the foot off the pedal. It's like, okay, we're not going anywhere. We're ready to go. The last piece of it is Burrow, who has been fantastic and has been so confident since he got in the league. And so I guess the alpha in that room, like, I remember the draft, it was over Zoom, so it was tough for these teams to interview the players, and there was no question he wasn't going number 1, but another team got to do a Zoom with him, and I spoke to a coach afterwards who met with Burrow, met with Tua, met with Herbert, and he's like, you know, Tua's got a great story, and he's going to be fine, and Herbert has these physical gifts, but like Burrow is that Pied Piper where Burrow says, I want to go down a dark alley, and you know it's not the right thing to do, but you're like, if Joe Burrow's doing it, let's go. Like, I want to be a part of that. And
it's like Trent Dilford's car keys test.
Is that
where
I don't know that
if you had the 5 QBs, it was the draft in 2010. If you have the 5 rookie QBs, you throw the car keys to Mark Sanchez.
Is that what he said? All right,
yeah.
I love that.
And it was like, that's both funny that Mark Sanchez was the answer, but Mark Sanchez was 2 AFC title games. But anyway, it always makes me think of that. So they would throw the keys to Burrow.
But that's the thing. And it's like, all right, so then he tears up his knee and all off season, he's still running shit and he's still the guy. And then gets on the field and they're like, this guy is the man. Like they all think he's the man and the coaches think he's the man. And we make excuses and we say, well, you don't have to be a big vocal. Like Eli was great and he wasn't this screamer, and Flacco was kind of this calm demeanor. And Nick Foles was an in-your-face guy. At the end of the day, sometimes it is nice to have a big asshole as your quarterback who's just like, follow me, let's go. I'm not going to be the nicest guy in the room, but we're going to go win. And he
sounds like Dan Fouts. Have you ever seen the
the old
MFC video of Dan Fouts? I'm the MFC.
He's got the hat on. He's
nuts. Oh, yeah. The thing with Burrow that makes me like him even more, because he was obviously amazing at LSU, and I've loved everything I've seen from him in the Bengals. Even last year, he's getting the shit kicked out of him because they couldn't block for him.
Yeah.
But you think like, all right, why did he transfer? Oh, because Urban Meyer evaluated that Dwayne Haskins was better. Well, what have we learned from Urban Meyer the last 4 or 5 years? He might have just been a complete jackass who was good at recruiting, and that's it. Like, what a miss. So, and I think that was probably the best thing that ever happened to Burrow too, right? It's like, these guys don't want me. I know I belong here. Ends up at another school. And I'm all in, and we should be all in with the Bengals this week. And I feel like, a lot of people are going to say, you guys are Johnny come lately. Where were you in week 3? I think it's fair to adjust and adapt and be like, we had him in underdog parlay. We were there. We won.
But it's like, I think there's this resistance from a lot of these fan bases when they have these like breakout years, and it's like, no. It's okay to adapt and to appreciate. Like CBS last week, they had the national game in the 1:00 hour. 17% of the country got Bengals Ravens when the Bengals were 5-1 and the Ravens were 5, whatever they were. And it's like, that'll change. And now it's okay. And we're getting to know this team. It's going to be a little slow for everyone else to get on it, and it's okay to get on it. I really enjoy watching them play. I really think they're good. And I don't think they're going anywhere with that guy at quarterback. He's just too much of a straight shooter, and he's too much of a leader. They're not going to fade away.
Jets this week, Cleveland at home next week.
Jets are in a bad place.
Chance they could be 7-2, the Bengals, heading into the bye. And then it gets tougher, and we'll find out. But I think, look, every year we have the first half teams that you ride.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's always one team in the second half that might not be for real. It could be Arizona this year. Who knows? But after the bye, they have at Las Vegas, home Pittsburgh, home Chargers, home San Fran, at Denver, and then home Baltimore, home KC, at Cleveland. Now, if KC just never gets their shit together, if the Chargers continue to kind of be arrow pointing down, maybe that schedule is not as hard as we thought. But if you had to pick AFC North, Bengals, Ravens, Browns, who would you take in that division? Because I think I would take the Bengals.
After last week, I would take the Bengals.
I'm going to give you the odds. Who do you think is favored?
Ravens
minus 120, Browns plus 250, Bengals plus 330.
Really?
Yeah.
So people
not a lot of believers out there.
They're still waiting. I thought they destroyed Baltimore last week in their building, and the confidence they have off of that is going to be incredible.
You would think. All right, so we're looking at them.
Do we break the mold and talk about that bet? That sounds like a very interesting one.
A division bet. We
division bet in week 8.
Put a couple flyers. Brady plus 550 and Bengals plus 330. So Bengals, we could maneuver this line if we wanted. We could move it to minus 9.5 and bet it straight up with a little vig. And that would be, let me find out what that would cost us. That would cost. So they have the alternate spreads on FanDuel, right? I don't know if you're aware of that.
I don't know.
The alternate spread, we could do minus 8.5, minus 140, minus 9.5, minus 130.
I think they run away with this one. I don't know much about Mike White, the quarterback for the Jets. I don't think the Jets know much more than he's been with them a couple of years bouncing around. Western Kentucky, 5th round pick from the Cowboys.
We agree the Bengals are winning. So what do? We have a 3-team money parlay we could do.
Okay.
The Bucks just to win.
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals just to win. And the Chiefs just to beat the Giants. Chiefs make me nervous. They cost us a lot of money last week. And that's plus 104. We could also do Bucks, Bills, Bengals. Bills against Miami. Bills are minus 850 against Miami. Put those three together, it's minus 111. So basically we could bet $1,110,000 to win $1 million on those three if we want it.
Do we go 4?
Or we could get super ambitious.
This is where we get in trouble, Bill.
And just say, fuck it. The Bengals are beating the Jets. Let's just bet the money line minus 500. Let's risk. We made all this profit during the season. We're up 1.565 million. Let's bet $3 million on the Bengals to win 600K. All we have to do is they just have to win by 1 point.
This feels like uncut gems right now. My heart's out of my chest. It's not even my money.
All right, so we'll come back to that. We'll figure that out when we do the $1 million picks. But no way the Dolphins beat the Bills, right?
There's a way, but I don't see it in Buffalo. I don't. Not after a bye. I don't see it. No.
Something slightly scares me just because it's like the Dolphins' whole season.
They're
and
desperate.
Like
and
Tua playing for his job.
Yeah.
And then Chiefs-Giants, like, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I don't want to throw the Chiefs in a tease at this point in my life.
They don't deserve our love.
Yeah. Some straight up games. Pats, Chargers. It's going to be a home game for the Pats. There's going to be 50,000 Boston fans there. The Chiefs are 17th in DVOA. Their wins are Washington, KC, Vegas, and Cleveland. They have the 32nd run DVOA. I think the Pats can really run the ball on them.
They can.
Mike Williams is not 100%. Somebody that I think would have given the Pats a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
I think the Pats, after following Belichick for 21 years, they're going to double Keenan Allen. They're going to make sure Eckler doesn't beat them coming out of the backfield. And
let Jared Cook beat us. Yeah.
Take their chances with everybody else. The biggest thing is Josh McDaniels finally emerged from his coma last week.
It was nice to see.
He woke up. It was a little like when Adrian came out of her coma in Rocky 2 and was like, I want you to do one thing for me. Win. Well, what are we waiting for? Josh McDaniels is like, oh, shit, I can do some fun stuff with this team, and broke out of his shell.
Out of the gates, too. That first Kendrick Bourne, like, here we go. And I think you mentioned it to Sal. Like, I think there's a lot of symbolism and a lot of importance and significance in Belichick and Mac on the sidelines, down the stretch, smiling, laughing, hugging. Because those first few weeks, it was like, son, like, this is how it was not pleasant to watch. And it looked like, all right, Mac is earning a little bit of that Belichick attaboy stuff, which does not come easy.
Do you think the Patriots, how inspired will they be by nephew Kyle being there in person on Sunday, do you think?
Have we alerted TMZ or Demois or any of these sites that do the celebrity sightings?
Kyle, try to cut yourself off after 10 drinks.
Get your camera on.
Can't wait. So Warren Sharp threw something interesting at me, an idea. And you can listen to Warren on the Ringer Gambling Show. He was saying if this game's going to be close, they're 4.5 point. This game's right in the Vegas zone. Vegas is like, we don't know either. Plus 4.5. That's the classic. We just have no idea. If you like the Pats, why not take them plus 3 in the first half?
Interesting.
Because if they're going to cover or stay in the game or possibly win, the first half will set the tone. If they're down 10 in the second half and Mac's got to throw it, now I'm nervous. Bosa's heating up. And it's like, what? Instead of taking the plus 4.5, why not just take the plus 3 for the first half?
Interesting.
What are your thoughts on that?
I like that a lot. And
which one do you like more?
I think the plus 3.5 the first half is a good
plus
call.
Plus 3, not plus 3.5. I would love the 3.5.
I would love that little like that extra 1.5 in the second half, though. Sure do.
All right. Well, we can come back to that. We agree. The Pats.
I like the Pats, and I like that they won 45-0 in that building last year. And it's not like they're coming in there like, ooh, a trip to LA. Like, this is a business trip. They know what's up.
Plus 194. We'll be talking about them again in Underdog Parlay. The reason I love this game for them is I just like the matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're really going to be able to run the ball, control the ball. The play action, Mac was just so crisp last week. It really got me so pumped.
Started using the tight ends quite a bit more.
Yep. And Jonnu, unclear if he's playing this week, but the Hunter Henry piece.
Henry's been good.
Yeah. All right. So we'll come back to that. And the Chargers, the Eckler thing is what scares me.
Mm-hmm.
Eckler coming out of the backfield has been the type of guy that's haunted this Patriots team for like 10 years.
Give me some names. Give me some guys that have given you
just
nightmares.
Name anyone. Like Kamara a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Just like the wheel routes and delayed screens, all that stuff. Like they just have trouble. And the Hightower thing is something to watch. He didn't play last week against the Jets. They didn't miss him at all. I think he's looked old and slow this year.
Yeah, I haven't heard his name mentioned many times on the broadcast, and you don't hear anyone around the league being like, "Wow, Hightower's doing it." But those young guys are playing well. But the young guys are, and Judon's been fantastic.
Hightower's led the league in grunts from Kyle this year, where Hightower like 2 steps behind somebody in a pass play, and Kyle just going, ugh. Anyway, that part worries me. Okay, so we mentioned Bucks -5.5. Just 3 more games really quick. Talk me out of Seahawks -3 over the Jags.
The kitchen sink game was Sunday night against the Steelers. They lost it. The kitchen sink game was Monday night against the Saints. They lost it. You think after that loss Monday night, like I'm going to go and say, yeah, they're going to Jaguars have nothing to lose. They're going to come out and play loose. And I don't know. The Seahawks have been putrid the last 2 weeks. I can't get behind that.
Seattle's 10th in DVOA somehow.
Okay.
Jaguars 32nd in run DVOA. They lost Chark for the year.
Yep.
Seattle beat Indy. OT lost to Tennessee. Killed by Minnesota and beat San Francisco to start the year. Wilson gets hurt in the Rams game, which they almost won anyway.
Sure.
OT lost to the Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And that Saints game is fucking monsoon. I think we throw it out.
Okay, so what's the argument suddenly they're going to turn it around? I think, to me, I was watching that game Monday night. I'm like, well, that's done. Like, this team's done.
Counter.
Okay.
Urban Meyer, how many more chances do we have to bet against this guy?
They got a win before the bye. They won in London. They came back and beat the Dolphins. Like, I don't know.
Maybe that was their one win. All right, so you're vetoing that one. Are you exercising your veto?
I'm going to use my veto.
You're using your veto. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Jaguars hang with them.
How do you feel about
Seattle?
I just think this is House's favorite game of the week, and House has been kind of hot. He'll be talking about it on Friday.
See, he likes the Seahawks.
It's just like, if I told you this line, if we were in August.
Yes, but
we're like,
Wilson
week 8
was their quarterback.
But in week 8, Seahawks, Jags, what do you think the line is? We would have said 10.5.
I've watched every snap of the Seahawks the last 2 weeks. They're one of the worst teams.
They're pretty bad. Yeah, they're pretty bad. All right. Lions, Eagles. Lions +3.5 over the Eagles. Philly's 21st in DVOA, Detroit's 27th. If you take out week 1, which they did on Football Outsiders, go to footballoutsiders.com. I'm a subscriber. Good site. If you take out week 1, Philly's 25th in DVOA.
Okay.
These two teams are basically even. Lions lost to Baltimore by 2, Mini by 2, Rams by 9. If they don't win this week, their 4 best chances left: home Chicago, at Denver, at Atlanta, at Seattle. They're close. You have a good feel for that Lions team. Like, they're not going 0-17, are they? I can't see it.
No, and I thought they played, again, moral victories don't mean anything, and they lost by almost 10 points, but like, they played their asses off last week in a tough spot, and I thought Goff played well. That interception is going to happen. It's what it is. I think I go down these rosters, and I don't think the Eagles roster is all that much better than Detroit's roster right now.
Well, and Sanders is out.
Yeah. Sanders is out. They've had other injuries. Their quarterback has not looked outstanding. I know fantasy-wise, I'm on a show, and Kay Adams is great. She does the fantasy football, and she was talking about Hurts' numbers. She's having this amazing fantasy season. Is there ever a discrepancy of like actual quarterback play and then fantasy numbers in Jalen Hurts? Because you watch these games, it's like anytime he needs to complete a big pass, it's not happening, and they're down big early. I don't know. Sirianni gave a quote this week about the flower. Did you see this whole thing? He was comparing his team to a flower, and there's got to be seeds and roots and fertilizer. And I'm wondering, week 8, you start talking about flowers and seeds and roots and water, and I don't know where that team's going right now. I think
is he our deer in the headlights leader through 8 weeks on the sidelines, or is it Arthur Smith? Who would you go with?
Well, Nick and Arthur both are like really good offensive minds. It's just how they verbalize and show themselves. I thought Sirianni's got four highlighters in his visor and stuff. And
yeah,
like, what is going on?
Jesus.
Wore the Iverson jersey early on in the season, wore the beat Dallas thing early on in the season. I love the effort. I love it all. I don't know if that team's good enough and if that team is responding right now to what all that is.
And something major happened. As you know, I have one of the only houses on Minshew Island.
Do you think the trade of Minshew shattered the confidence of everyone because they knew that Minshew was the guy and they're like, why are we not starting our backup?
They trade Flacco
I saw that.
to the Jets. Somehow get a 6th-round pick for Flacco, the same price that Minshew costs. The road is now clear for my guy Minshew.
Do you think he
it's
plays
in there?
This week?
He's one away now. He wasn't suiting up for some of these games.
No.
So it was like you couldn't even say, and I think the reason is because they were like, well, we don't want him kind of breathing on Hurts' neck. But now it's like, all right, he's right there. He's the backup.
Yeah.
And so I think if the Lions beat the Eagles, I think we see Minshew next week.
Okay, but not this week. You don't think he goes in mid-game?
I think we could. That's what worries me about Lions plus 3.5. Like, what if they're up 14-3 at halftime and it's like Minshew comes in and Minshew, once he comes in and he's firing balls around, I think the Eagles have good receivers. I enjoy their skill guys. I would like to see somebody who just flung it around with that team for a half.
Has there ever been a player like Minshew with you in the NFL? Like an irrational love for a guy that has been in the league, but like that's not on your team. It's not, this guy's going to be good and he's going to have this great career and we're going to have to all be like, wow, Simmons was back in his,
I don't even think he's
him when he was 3rd string in Philly.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a great career. I just think he can be competent. You know, it's like, I always kind of like Case Keenum.
Yeah.
But he never did it. And then he went to Minnesota that one year and all of a sudden they figured out how to use him. Now he looked terrible in that Browns game 10 days ago or a week ago, whenever that was. But I just think Minshew can fling it around.
Yeah.
And,
hypothetical, because you were pushing for the Patriots to go get him. Would you rather have Mac or Minshew? This hypothetical. Obviously, long-term Mac. But
what are you talking about? Mac? No, Mac.
Season,
Mac.
Yeah.
I'm all in on Mac. The question for me is like, Mac, if Parsons had fallen to 15.
Can I give you one more hypothetical? Because San Francisco is like on fire right now, but what the hell's going on with their team? The whole market is. They traded up and took Lance and gave up 2 future 1st-round picks. What would the Niners, what would they be right now if they had Mac instead of Lance?
It's brutal. It's the biggest what if of the season, right? If they just took Mac, they
would
kept
have had
the
him
picks.
At 12, kept next year's 1st-round pick and the following year's 1st-round pick. Now they have Lance, Garoppolo, who looks like a shell of himself, completely incapable of.
It was reported
much.
this week they had to trade for Garoppolo. The Pats were going to give up a 2nd. So if they took Mac at 12, traded a 2nd for, got a 2nd for Garoppolo, and then kept the 2 extra firsts, they'd have 2 firsts and a 2nd and a better quarterback. Tough.
Is it too soon though? Like, is that one where it's like, let's give it a couple years before we even weigh in? Because
I think I don't think it's too soon because I think that team has really good players and was kind of built to be successful this year and next year, and now they can't be.
I think you're spot on. I think the expectation was we're winning. We've got a Super Bowl team from 2 years ago. If we're healthy, we're going back. Jimmy will get us there. And if he can't, we got this great backup and neither guy can get on the field and do it.
Listen, Sal and I had played the Shanahan game on Sunday. I know you were hurt.
Wade Michaels or Walt Michaels, I heard.
Yeah. 31 and 39 through 70 games.
He called Shanahan a Ringer employee because he came on the podcast.
That's funny. Last one, Vikes plus 1.5 against the Cowboys. This is probably a stay away. I think you can make the case for either team. Both of them really good offenses. I think the one thing that worries me is they did a good job, Solak and Sharp, talking about this, about Minnesota great at blitzing. It's why their defense has succeeded against some of the teams they played this year. Dak, incredible against the blitz. So I'm leaning toward Dallas in this game, but I also, as I've said to you many times this season, I kind of like the Vikings.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a stay away.
I would say stay away. Mike Zimmer and Mike McCarthy have coached against each other a million times. Dallas is great. And I know Cowboys fans will say, how could you still not believe? It's not believing. It's Minnesota has been in every single game. They've won their last 2 games. And we've had a thrill ride with Greg Joseph, their kicker. I would not like to ever have money on that guy ever again, either way, good or bad. So I'd say let's stay away from that one.
All right. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about underdog parlays, including the FanDuel boost that is in play now. FanDuel teaming up with us now. They love the underdog parlays. All right, underdog parlays. We almost went 3 for 3 last week. where all three bets would have won. One of them won for us, but we came very close and had a lot of fun doing it. Pats are plus 194 against the Chargers, so I want to include that. We discussed.
I like that.
Bears plus 162 against the 49ers. I feel like it's a stay away. I'm just mentioning it.
No, yeah, I'm going to stay away from Chicago. I don't know what the deal is with the coach, who's calling the plays, who's playing, what the quarterback's mental stage is right now after last week. I'd stay away. That the visual of Justin Fields just bummed out on the bench really, really was a downer last week.
Yeah, and we have me and Sal and House have Nagy as first coach fired, which is somehow still available because Gruden resigned. And this feels like if they lost this game, there would be a coaching change. So I'm going to stay away. I just want to monitor it. Saints plus 198 against the Bucks. We're staying away from that. Steelers plus 162 against the Browns. They're plus 3.5. Look, they could easily beat the Browns.
Yeah,
we have
absolutely.
to throw that. I'm not even going to do like football side. Look, we don't know what we're getting with the Steelers. Trick or treat. Ironically, this game's on Halloween.
Oh, nice.
Roethlisberger could throw 5 picks. I wouldn't be shocked. Miles
What about
Garrett
the other
could.
quarterback?
Yeah. Case.
And I think Baker's going to try. It's
Either way, it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
The Odell thing's a mess. Chubbs might play
Cleveland
hurt.
In Cleveland is the only thing that makes me a little, but whatever. It's fine. Steelers have owned that place before.
I like the Steelers against the run. No?
Yeah. Their defense, we talked about it the last few weeks. They're still good. They're going to be in every game. Their defense is good.
I would rather bet the plus 162 than the plus 3.5. I think that's just better value. So we'll throw them in, and then the Lions plus 162 against the Eagles.
Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
So we can either do mix and match with the 3 like we did last week, or just do the Pats with the Steelers, which is plus 670, and the Pats with the Lions, which is plus 670. Unless you want to also do Steelers Lions. What are you thinking?
Let's do all 3. We have to avenge last week. I know it's asking a lot to go for 3 upsets, but if Jason Myers, and that name should not be on the tip of my tongue, but 5 days later, I'm still losing sleep on the way the Seahawks lost that game, cost us a huge underdog parlay. We have to get back in the saddle. We got to do all 3. Let's do a combination of all 3.
All right. So Pats, Lions is plus 670.
Okay.
Pat Steelers was plus 670, but on FanDuel, they're going to boost this for us. The underdog parlay of the week, they're going to boost it. It's going to be at least 8-1.
Okay.
I'm going to give us 8-1. It might even be a tad higher if you go on FanDuel. Pat Steelers both to win. 8-1 odds. How do you not do that?
Do they call it the Bill Simmons
They call it the
parlay?
the Ringer's underdog parlay of the week.
Yes. We've made it.
We made it. Good times. And then Steelers Lions plus 586. So we're going to look at those 3. All right. Before we do the $1 million picks, what's your appetite for going big on Bengals minus 500?
What do you want to do? What do you think?
Do you want to really go for it? Why don't you just say this is the one time all year?
But if
we're just going all in.
This is maybe like a psychological thing about who I am as a person. I'm asking, if we bet and we lose, we're in a hole, and it's going to be a miserable, we're chasing our tail the rest of the year, right?
So the answer would be Bucks, Bills, Bengals minus 111. I think I feel the best about.
I do. And I don't want the listeners or you to think I'm any less of a man. I just can't stomach the thought of last second Jets field goal and all of a sudden we're down $3 million.
What do you think about Bengals betting them straight up, teasing it down a little bit to minus 9.5, putting minus 130 odds on that?
At what cost?
No, I'm saying just like 260 to win 200K on the Bengals.
I think they can win by 10 points. Yes.
Okay. All right. So we'll add that. And did you want to do Pats first half or Pats for the game with the plus 4.5? I would rather do Pats for the game.
Let's go for the game. I think that's more fun.
I respect Sharp's analysis.
It's probably the smarter play, but we're having fun here.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Kyle, turn the camera on. $1 million picks. Week 8. We are up 1.565 million for the season, licking our wounds after the Chiefs treated us rudely last week. Rudely.
Chiefs and Seahawks, they might as well never, they might not look at me again. I'm disgusted with both teams.
Chiefs cost us almost $600,000 by just not showing up. And then the Seahawks kicker, Jason Myers, kisser and kicker.
We know your name, Jason.
Jason kissed away about $600K of underdog parlay money that we would have won last week too. So that hurt. He's kind of the reverse Greg Butler. What's his name?
Greg
Joseph.
Vikings kicker, yes.
The Minnesota kicker.
Greg Bishop, I believe, is a sports writer.
Great point. Sorry, Greg. $1 million picks for week 8. We're putting $777,000 to win $700,000. Minus 111 odds. Bucks will beat the Saints. Bills will beat the Dolphins. The Bengals will beat the Jets. All 3 teams just have to win.
That's it. Just got no major upsets, and we're good. And we're back on the high life again.
We've had trouble with the $200,000 bet, so I'm gonna up it a tiny bit. We're gonna do
We're gonna bet more.
We're gonna bet more. 200, or do you want to bet less?
I think less would be the guidance I would give, but again, I'm conservative.
We're gonna do. We'll keep it at 200. Maybe we turn around. 200K on the Pats plus 4.5.
Okay.
Against the Chargers, they absolutely have a chance to win. I think they can win. I think they could be 4-4 after this game, and I would be feeling good. We're also going to do 260,000 to win 200, minus 130 odds. The Bengals brought down a minus 9.5 to beat the Jets. They beat the Jets by 10. We win.
Love it.
All right, underdog parlay. We're doing the same formula as last week. 3 $33,000 parlays. First one, Pats, Lions. Both have to win. Pats are at Los Angeles against the Chargers with 50,000 Boston fans. The Lions putting themselves on the map. First win of the year.
Let's go.
Against the Eagles.
At home in Detroit. Come on.
In what could be the last Eagles game before it's Minshew Mania in Philly. Plus 670. We're grabbing that. We are also grabbing the Steelers-Lions. Steelers have to win in Cleveland. Lions in Philly plus 586. And then a special little FanDuel boost for this one. Pats Steelers is plus 670. They're going to boost it. We're going to give ourselves 8-1 odds on this. The boost, when they finally finalize it on Thursday night, might even be a tad higher than that, but it'll at least be 8-1. We'll give ourselves plus 800. So those are our 3 parlays. And those are the $1 million picks. What do you feel the best about out of those?
I love our Bengals 9.5. I think that is a home run. And Bill, I feel like this week, after I look at it all, and I don't think we're losing any of these. I feel tremendous about
We
this
haven't
week.
swept it yet. We had our great run week 17 in the playoffs. We're sweeping bets left and right. We haven't had a sweep yet. I'm feeling it this week. The $1 million picks for week 8.